didn't expect you to say that's like anyone else.
The minutes were sent out to you electronically. Are there any corrections or objections to the minutes? Seeing none, the minutes stand. We'll go ahead and move into reports of officers, colleges, and standing committees, beginning with our executive officers. Are there any executive officer reports?
What's going on, y'all? Kind of like I told Kevin, I have two things. First thing is business, and the second thing is personal. Business thing, so we got a resolution coming through tonight. It's a future order. Jordan will talk more about it, but it's focusing on the American Town Initiative. It's something we've done a lot of research and work on over the past really 6 to 8 months. And so this is a, again, there'll speak more to it, but it's an initiative that is seeking out to create new opportunities for students to attend just college. So there's students that are missing out on this opportunity. So I'm super excited about that. I'm excited to hear the kind of discussion that comes from it. Second thing, personal, it's been on my heart a lot recently. It's just, there's not a whole lot of time left. I'm so excited for this new phase of life with people talking about what they're going to do next year and everything. So I just want to offer encouragement to y'all. Focus on where your feet are. Matt gave me that quote, I guess in the beginning of this time, and just told me to focus on where my feet are and not look at the mountain ahead because you can stumble upon a rock at your foot. But to move forward, yes, there's a lot of things we want to get done for the rest of the year. And yes, we're going to get those things done because you guys are incredible. But one thing I really want to encourage you to do is invest in the people around you. This is something I'm looking forward to doing more so moving forward. But that's what you're going to take from this year. The relationships, the connections you made, the time shared in this room. It's going to trump anything and everything we can do on paper. So super proud of y'all thus far. It's really cool to look out here and you can see a bunch of y'all just being strong leaders and great representatives of this university. So again, I'm here for anything and everything that y'all need, and I'm looking forward to the remainder of this time of the day. So thank y'all.
Hey y'all, so as you can see on your agenda, we have a PDF that came through for SGA. So this is another one Jordan's project. It's our fall feast, which is going to be over Thanksgiving break. And basically the purpose of it is to bring international students together to have a meal over the Thanksgiving holidays that a lot of them don't get to get home for. So if y'all have any questions this week, please feel free to reach out to me. We'd love to talk to you guys. Thank y'all.
Hey guys, two quick things. One, I figured I would share, or I was asked to share with y'all, so Green Dot's going to be on the concourse on Friday from 10 to 2. They're doing a Polaroid kind of thing. Again, just their program being proactive to take that pledge to remember the 3 Ds for that. Wanted to share that. And then also the student affairs, they sent me a list of some questions and concerns with facilities, and I was able to go through that. So I'll send that back to y'all soon for some of the points on there. We just want to share that. Appreciate the collaboration between Cabinet and Senate as always. Thank y'all.
So as many of you know, or may not know, Dan campaigned on the American Talent Initiative. And after assembling our executive team and learning more about it, we also identified it as an executive goal very early on. We have held countless meetings with administration officials. We've conducted ample research on the ATI and member institutions. We spent a lot of time on this, but the fact of the matter is the majority of our executive team isn't elected. You all are. And so there's no better way to demonstrate the will of the student body than to earn the endorsement of the Student Senate. And so I want to thank you in advance for your consideration of this bill. I want to thank Senator Jeter for his leadership in writing it. And before talking more about it. So both my parents went to grad school, and chances are most of your parents also went to college. So in middle school and high school, we constantly talked about what would be best for me as a college applicant, what would set me apart. But for many students who are raised in urban communities or rural communities, students whose family members don't go to college, that's not the dialogue in which they were raised. That's not the expectation for them, despite the fact that if given the opportunity and support, they do better than you and me. These are the kinds of students, high-achieving, low-income students that the ATI aims to serve. Every year, 470,000 high-achieving, low-income students graduate from top-performing universities. But that leaves thousands who don't because of the lack of information, preconceived misconceptions, or insufficient financial aid. The ATI aims to increase that number to 520,000 high-achieving, low-income students that graduate annually by the year 2025. So by joining the ATI, Auburn joins over 100 top-performing institutions from Yale to Ohio State, The Ohio State, in sharing a wealth of knowledge in research and best practices for attracting, enrolling, and supporting high-achieving, low-income students. And that's the role of a land-grant institution. As a land-grant university, our unique responsibility is to ensure that higher education is open and accessible to all Americans, particularly those within our state. When we sit next to classmates who look, live, and think differently than us, our education becomes stronger and this institution becomes stronger. When you sit next to senators who look, live, and think differently than you, this body becomes stronger. And so, for those reasons, for those students, I highly encourage you to expedite your consideration of this bill.
Is there any other executive officer reports? Seeing none, we'll move into colleges, beginning with at-large.
Dogs at large. So we have a couple things. First off, class registration starts tomorrow. It's this week. So I really want to encourage y'all to look out for problems with that and just talk to students, hear how that's going. Remind people, don't let them forget to register. That's super important. And then voting days is tomorrow, so make sure you go out and vote. That's super important. And yes, and we're also working on a Scantron machine. So we've been working. I'm going to meet with MB soon in the cabinet, and we're going to talk about. We've been getting a lot of feedback on where students would like to see Scantron machines on campus. So we're going to hopefully see that come to fruition soon. Thanks, y'all.
Agriculture. Business.
Return to business. We had a financial leadership summit on Friday, which was a huge success, and we're very thankful to the administration as well as FMA for putting that on. We had representatives from CFOs, Bijan Hassani, who's from Lloyd's in London, a huge bank there, representatives from Goldman Sachs. It was really great and a cool opportunity for our students to get to network with people from all across financial services. So we are very appreciative for that opportunity.
Speed COSAM. November 12th will be the last COSAM Leads workshop, and we will focus on COSAM leadership and ways to improve involvement throughout the university.
Education. Engineering. Forestry and Wildlife Sciences.
Go for it.
Grad school.
Center, graduate school, So as I've mentioned in here before, this past Wednesday we had our Graduate Student Senate meeting. A lot of important things were discussed, voted on, just our budget for the year, things like important things for graduate students to know about. One of the big things we did talk about though was declarations of intent, because we want to make sure we have a lot of people running. So I know all of you represent different colleges. Some of your constituents are graduate students, even if the majority of them are not. I urge you to really try and reach out and get those declarations of intent, get that information about declarations of intent out, especially to the graduate students, because some of them are less plugged in than others. Now, we really try in the Graduate Student Senate, and I'm actually really happy. I've talked to a couple people that have expressed interest in running for one of these positions. I would love to see it if the graduate school, as well as every other school, sees competition each in the next election for every single seat, and people are excited to find out what happens at those call-outs. The second thing, we've been working on for a long time, a major survey to get a better idea of what should the relationship be between graduate students and their advisors. There's a lot of stuff we're looking to get from that survey. That's hopefully going out fairly soon. But one of the big things, though, is how can we get a better idea of evaluating courses when you have like 3 students? Because as an undergraduate, that can happen, but it's much rarer. But as a graduate student, it is not at all uncommon, at least in my department of history, to have just like 4 students, somebody drops, and then have 3 students in a class. And at that point, you're not sure if you're anonymous. While you want to be open when you're a professor, and with most one can be, just that concern is real. So that is something we're really hoping to get some good feedback on, as well as many other issues regarding advisor-student relationships. I've mentioned this before, that the 3-minute thesis finals are on November the 15th at 3 o'clock. They're going to be in Mel. We still have 10 days, so you will hear from me on this again. But I really encourage all of you to show up, see what were deemed to be the top 10 presentations, as well as I think some of the winning ones from last year. One of the winners from last year, I might add, actually went on to win the regional competition and is now going to be competing at the national level. So Auburn's doing great on that. I really encourage you again to see some of the great research my constituents are doing, and some of your constituents as well, because they have multiple senators. Finally, we're also reaching out to some officials in the College of Education, I believe Human Sciences, see if it's possible to better integrate Tiger Sitter Service into some of their courses where they already may have a service learning component, just to really get the word out there, because as you've been around here for a while, you know that's a program I'm always trying to plug. We need undergraduate volunteers at the beginning of every semester. It's a great thing. We want to get as many people for it. Thank you.
Liberal arts.
Davis, Liberal Arts. So today, our schools council president, Andrew Thompson, and myself met with Dean Astrup of College of Liberal Arts just to discuss some student feedback on CLA facilities, as well as potential projects in the near future within the many buildings that are in the College of Liberal Arts, as well as just get general updates on things going on within the college. So that was a good meeting with our dean.
Moving into committees, beginning with the executive committee.
Calhoun, business. Okay, I have a lot tonight, so bear with me. So first thing, after tonight, we only have 3 sentences left. So use that as motivation, essentially. Everybody needs to be reaching out to their constituents, and we need a strong finish to this semester. We've done a great job so far, but I really want everybody to have a very strong finish to this semester. I'm very proud of everybody so far. Let's see. So last week with the office hour binder, I did replace all of the October sheets with the November sheets. If you put, your last October week on the October sheets, and I put them somewhere else, don't worry, I still got you down. It's all good. I've gotten a lot of comments and questions about that. So if that is you, don't worry, I took care of you. I just want to recommend to everybody, I think we should keep a good relationship with your school's council. It's a great outlet for constituent feedback. It's always good, in my opinion, to have a good relationship with your school's council, because I went to a business council meeting today and I actually learned a lot. So I really do hope that everybody's trying to do that within their own colleges. Also encourage people to run for Senate. Declarations of intent are due at the end of this month. So if you have people reaching out to you, I would highly recommend, sitting down and talking to them about the process of the campaign, and once you're elected, what the requirements are. So Also, office hours, same deal as always, office hour binders upstairs. Exec is Tuesday at 5 in conference room B. I would highly, if you have not come yet, we are running short on time, so please do that. And if you want to know how many absences you have, please let me know, because I have all of those written down. So that's all.
Academic affairs.
But yeah, engineering. So Max and MB were able to meet with some people in the provost office this morning about the academic honesty code. So looks like they got a lot of good feedback. So I'm looking forward to meeting with them sometime this week to kind of get some more of the details of what happened there. Also, our committee's looking into some clarifications about the course retake policy. I think it was brought to our attention that there might be some discrepancies between like the code of laws and like the gap policy. So we're researching that right now. Also, you'll probably be seeing something in the next couple weeks about the class excuses for job fairs, career fairs, that kind of thing. Also, shout out to my committee. I think all my committee has been to Senate exec, so I think we were first. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's all I got.
Budget finance.
Engineering. Okay, so carryover greens were over, so y'all be on the lookout for those bills. And then, like Dixon said, we got a SGA PDF, so y'all look out for that. And shout out to Michael. He came to the Budget Finance Committee today, got to meet a little, everybody on the committee. We're really looking forward to what's in store for this upcoming year. After you.
Code of laws.
Zinner Graduate School. So first of all, as Senator Vigus said, I, as well as NB, met with a number of officials, including Dr. Wynn from the Provost's office, to discuss the Academic Honesty Code. This is something that I have been wanting to take a look at for some time. What I have right now is kind of a draft of basically a rewrite. Not too many substantial changes, but there's quite a few. They informed me of some pretty important stuff going on over there. So expect to see a rewritten Academic Honesty Code on the floor in the next 2 weeks. Of course, it's going to have to go through the Academic Affairs Committee as well as my committee before reaching exactly going to the floor. But that's going to be coming through. That's a bill I'm very excited about. And just to think about it, in this meeting too, the Academic Honesty Policy, that is part of our Code of Laws. That is something that we have direct influence over. If you ever, talking again on that Declarations of Intent, if somebody is ever like, oh, Student Senate doesn't do anything, Student Government doesn't do anything, well, think about that on the issue of honesty. That can determine whether you get suspended, expelled. That's very, very serious, and that's something we have direct influence over. So I just want to emphasize that. That's something I've been working on, of course. Still waiting to hear from a couple more groups on the SAP rewrite. I'm really hoping to have something hit the floor before the end of the semester. It's definitely, I need to get something on here before the end of the term, but really pushing for the end of the semester because it's just a couple more groups I need to hear from. One note, the Code Committee normally meets on Tuesdays from 9:30 to 10:30. We canceled our meeting for tomorrow. There's a lot of projects we've got going on, but we're going to get back into it next week because a lot of this we need to be doing anyways. This week is research. There's not a ton of bills going to be coming from us next week. You can vote on some other things. Then, other things that I'm looking at in terms of the code is defining some of the auxiliary bodies in SGA, things like lobby board or freshman forum that are connected with us, but where exactly they stand in relation to the different branches. We need a better definition of that. So that's something that I'm taking a look at. And finally, don't forget to vote tomorrow. Tomorrow is election day, midterms, the big deal. I hope every one of you is registered. I really hope so. I'd vote wherever you are. And please, please look at the constitutional amendments and look at all the different races. Even like local ones like school board, they are contested. Please take a look at those candidates. It's so important. And with that, that's my report for the week. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a representative from Inclusion University?
Yes. Handbrake, Inclusion, Liberal Arts, my bad. So just to echo what Dixon said earlier, we'd just like to encourage you all to consider coming to Fall Feast. If you do decide that you're able to, just RSVP on AU Involved. We're looking at, IND's looking at adding a diversity statement to the school's national constitutions as those are being drafted. So that's something that we're excited for. Also, the cultural competency survey. I was supposed to get it a week ago, but they're still having some like technical difficulties. So once we do get that, we'll be sure to distribute that to you all. But also, one last thing, we're also excited to welcome Mary Kate to our committee tonight. So that's something new that we have. But that's all. Thank you.
Senator Hamrick, what was the date on fall fees?
I believe it is November 20th.
And that's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
And I have calendars up here with other dates on them as well. Student Davis.
Junior at large. Yeah, so great talk about resolution to increase parking spaces. So that's going to be neat. That and sexual assault nurses for Auburn, which is another really cool project that we're working on. And in regards to what we heard earlier from Dane and Jordan, I do ask to move item J, PSSR 18-1112-01, recommendation for membership in ATI to a current group.
Motion's been made. Is there any discussion or objections?
This is in our graduate school. I'm not sure what the reason for this is. Is there any particular reason? We still have a number of meetings this semester, not to mention this term. Is this something that I know it's been worked on by the executive officers. I know that Senator G has put a lot of time into it. And I definitely look forward to discussing it and voting on it. But is there a specific reason for why we should be moving this up today rather than just, I want to get it done? Because in general, unless there's really a time-sensitive issue about it, I prefer to give all of the senators a week to look at it. Now, I've had a little bit more time to look at it by the privilege of being on the executive committee, but I really hope everyone else in this room has that opportunity so they can speak to their constituents.
I do feel like there are many benefits to waiting a week as well. And I would like to give everybody the opportunity to really read this resolution and sort of think it through and talk to constituents about it and just sort of get the word out. So I would like to reiterate what Max said.
Is there any discussion?
Madam President, may I please yield time to President Clark?
Real quick, just on why it's so time sensitive. In order to fully take this to administration and truly begin this next phase on advocating for Auburn to become a part of this initiative, we need to have the student support behind it. And so you guys all have a unique opportunity tonight to read over this and discuss it and have fruitful conversation for it and give the student stamp of approval tonight. And then we can take it moving forward in the short weeks that we have moving forward, and even into early next semester, and bring these attentions to Dr. Woodard and Dr. Lee, and let them know that, hey, the students care. The students recognize the issues on campus, and we want to see a solution. We want to work with administration to see through solutions that are going to benefit Auburn, not just today, not just next year, but 5-10 years down the road. And so that's why I really want to encourage you guys to consider moving this up tonight, discussing it, and ultimately voting on it. So, thank y'all.
Is there any further discussion? Since there has been discussion, we'll vote on this motion. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to vote. All those in favor of moving item J under future orders to a current order, please say aye with A. Aye. All opposed?
No.
The ayes have it, and they do, and item J will become a current order to be voted on tonight. Seeing as that is all of our standing reports, we'll move into reports of special committees and liaisons, beginning with BSC.
Justice Adams. So we just want to thank y'all for helping Student Veteran Week be just great. Last week it was awesome. The game's fantastic. Round of applause to y'all for just now. And second thing, gonna push those donations again. I know it's gonna get kind of tiring, but anything y'all can help for that rough march, that would be fantastic. Thanks.
Thank you. Honors Congress?
No report.
Housing?
No report.
Questions?
No report.
We'll go ahead and move into current orders, and Maggie will call the first bill.
PSSB 18110501, Chapter 200.
This bill is brought to you by Senator Albright.
Albright, Kosium. I didn't receive any questions on this week, and again, this is just kind of like
Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye and click A.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, and this bill is adopted.
PSSB 18110502, Chapter 305, Legislative Branch.
This bill is brought to you by Senator Zinner.
Center Graduate School. This is a very simple clarification that I discussed last week about changing the veto so that it's the exact same in the Code of Laws and the Constitution. Haven't heard too much discussion about it, so I move to pass this bill as written.
A motion has been made and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Click A.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, and this bill is adopted.
PSSB 18110503, Chapter 702, Election Law.
This bill is brought to you by Senator Huntley.
Curtin Business, I'm presenting on behalf of Senator Huntley tonight. I haven't received any questions, and I don't believe anybody has either. But I would like to move for this bill to be passed.
This bill has, a motion has been made and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, and the bill is adopted.
PSSB 18110504, Chapter 712, Election Law.
This bill is brought to you by Senator Zinner.
Center Graduate School. Now, before I present this bill to vote, there's one very small change that I'd like to make. Under 712.8, where it says 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. CST, I would like to change CST to local time. This was pointed out to me last week by our advisor, Pearson Brown, that, well, CST, that is not necessarily like accounting for daylight savings time. Local time is just going to keep it simpler. So that is my proposal. And with that, I move to pass this bill as written.
Is there a second? A motion has been made and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Click A.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, and this bill is adopted.
PSSR 18110501, Recommendation for Membership in ATI Initiative.
This resolution is brought to you by Senator Jeter.
Jeter at large. Like I said, I wanted to just run through this resolution, just so everyone can look at it and kind of have a better understanding about it. So, starting with the first part, it's talking about the demographic of Auburn. It says Auburn University's demographic is 5.85% African American, 75.93% white, 18.22% other. Compared to the state of Alabama's demographic, 26.5% African American, 68.7% white, and 4.8% other. The next whereas statement, that Auburn is a land-grant institute that serves the state of Alabama, and our demographic should be more like the state. So as a land-grant institute, we are supposed to serve the state, but this is an area that we are failing. The next whereas statement, that Auburn University set a goal in the 2013-2018 strategic plan to increase the percent of Pell Grant recipients to 20%, but failed to meet that goal, with our actual percent of Pell Grant recipients steadily decreasing to 13.6%. So my friend Wikipedia describes Pell Grants as it's from the federal government, and it's aid that you don't have to pay back, and it's for college students. The way you qualify for Pell Grant is through FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. They determine if you're eligible for that and how much your family does need to contribute, and then how much Pell Grants can give you for school. They can go to anything from tuition, books, if you live on campus, really anything like that. So Auburn, there's some clarity on that one too. In 2013, Auburn was at 18% Pell Grant recipients, and they set out to increase it to 20%, increasing it by 2%. And over the course of those 5 years, it actually steadily decreased. Toward this last year, we hit 13.6%. It was the lowest. The next whereas statement, going into financial aid, the Auburn University grants $57.3 million to 8,900 recipients, with 7,800 of these students receiving aid based on merit. That's like school aid, just because your merit in your scholastic, your grades met that requirement. And then of that $57.3 million, only $2.6 million is allotted to 1,100 students based on financial need alone. describe what ATI was and why Auburn needed to join it, but more in the sense of how Auburn can benefit from it. This resolution breaks down more how Auburn needs help in these areas. So the first therefore statement is that we, the Auburn University Student Senate, encourage Auburn University to further prioritize outreach to all qualified high school students in the state of Alabama, the enrollment and retention of Pell Grant recipients, and the creation of new opportunities in the form of need-based financial aid. So this therefore statement really focusing on recruiting and retention. Something to note is that Auburn currently only has grants that are federal grants and state grants, where some other universities even have university grants. Kind of having that last sentence is the creation of new opportunities in the form of need-based financial aid. The next one is getting into Auburn's hiring of a new vice president of enrollment. So it says that we, the Auburn University Student Senate, recommend that as Auburn seeks to hire a vice president for enrollment, that Auburn considers applicants' experience and successes with recruiting and retaining low-income, high-caliber students. Again, this is really encouraging Auburn in that hiring process to seek out someone who has a track record of doing all the things that this resolution is listed out. And then the last therefore statement is really defining ATI and then talking about how Auburn is eligible. So we, the Auburn University Student Senate, support Auburn University in joining the American Talent Initiative, which seeks to provide a collaborative environment amongst 134 plus universities across the nation to expand access and opportunity for talented, Pell-eligible students. We recognize that Auburn is capable and eligible to join the American Talent Initiative by maintaining a 6-year graduation rate of 75% or higher in the past 3 years. Members of the ATI are enhancing their own efforts to recruit and support Pell-eligible students, learn from each other, and contribute to research that will help other colleges and universities to expand opportunity. Basically, this is suggesting ATI as the big ask because Auburn has made it clear that they do have goals to do better, especially in that one whereas statement mentioning that they did want to increase Pell Grant recipients to 20%, but they failed at it. ATI, the simplest way I describe it to a few people is like a group message for a class. So whenever you need help in class, a lot of times they'll have group messages where you can ask some questions and figure out solutions to problems that you may not know. It's kind of what ATI is for on a university and on a much bigger grand scheme of things. But 134 universities that a lot of them are getting it right and are finding solutions to a lot of these problems that Auburn has. And Auburn joining the ATI helps solve a lot of those issues that they may not be able to solve on their own. But I'll open up to any questions.
Any questions for Senator?
Zinner, graduate school. I guess this is a bit of a clerical change, but I see you have 3, therefore be it resolved that. And I just want to make sure that this is matching the format of how we typically do the resolutions. I know it's been a bit since we passed one, especially with so many of these therefore statements. Do we typically do it as like period at the end of each one, or comma and then semicolon, as we often do in other statements, as I've seen with some other bills in other sections? I just would clarify that.
I based this one off of other resolutions that we've done in the past too, especially in Vox, using that. Now, there may be discrepancy with the 3 therefore statements because I couldn't find any that had 3 therefore. Looking at other universities, they have different wording with therefore statements, but the last 2 were the same. They just didn't say therefore be it further resolved that. But I'm open to
make sure this is
Well, because we typically use periods.
okay.
Are there any more questions for Senator Judy?
If there's no more questions, I move to pass this resolution as written.
Moved and seconded to pass the resolution as written. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Click A.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, and this resolution is passed. Seeing as there's no more current orders, we'll go ahead and move into future orders of business.
BSSB 18111201, student media carryover request.
This bill is brought to you by Senator Maldonado.
Water on engineering. So every senator from Button Pines
basic clerical duties. And for example, it earlier said each appointee to the organization board should be individually confirmed. We've traditionally been doing it as one big bill. Now we can argue whether that's individually confirming them or not, but just requiring them to be confirmed by the superintendent, changing that word. That's really the only change. It's very much a clerical, technical change for 500.
PSSB 18111206, Chapter 502, Charter and Procedure.
Dinner, graduate school, and this is basically the same thing as what the 500 for 502, clarifying some of that, not really changing much context. I'm working on 501. I'm hoping to have something on that in the near future. There's just some more moving parts there. I want to make sure I get everything right on.
PSSB 18111207, Title 9, Student Communications Media Law.
Zinner Graduate School. This is very much along the lines of the previous two bills, the same changes that we've done in Title 5 are now like we have in Title 9. There were a lot of issues with this bill, not so much with the content. I have not changed the content, maybe a few dozen words, really just for grammatical changes, maybe things plural, things like that. No content is intended to be changed with this. But as you can see, a lot of the numbering was not very good in what it was, so I fixed that. There were some abbreviations, but I really don't think we should be using those. Like the first time we mentioned the glomerata, we should say the glomerata, not the glom. This is a code of laws, this is a formal document. So going along with that, budget finance and B&F, just all kinds of things like that be toned down. And perhaps the biggest change is what I have in Chapter 903. A lot of this is also separating what were previously really big paragraphs, breaking that up into a few smaller sections that are both easier to read and perhaps more importantly, easier to cite if you're just referencing one point. 903 is the part I'm most proud of. This is one of the biggest changes. Previously, we had about 7 chapters. Now it's switching it just to 3. Because it was all consolidated what was 5 chapters into just this one chapter. There were all different things about selecting the station managers and editors. No content is changed. Most of this material was simply copy and paste into a new chapter. Some of them even said, this will follow the same procedures as we do with the plain text. Well, why not put all of this into one thing and have a much smaller section that says, okay, for the plainsman editor in particular, these are the criteria. For the Eagle Eye station manager in particular, these are the criteria. It took out, I want to say, over 600 words from that section alone, yet no content is changed. I'm very happy with this bill. I look forward to discussing it and hopefully passing it next week.
PSSB 18111208, Senate apportionment.
Those brought to you by Senator Albright.
All right, yes, sir. So these are the Senate apportionment for next year's term. There was like a little bit of a delay getting these because we had some questions with presenting interdepartmental students. And basically, most of the students are Auburn local students, so they're represented by at-large, and then the rest of the students are like graduate students. These numbers are basically the same except for liberal arts is one more center, and that's because they are university college. So,
Okay, how we can do is Batman spelled correctly?
all right, no, it's not. There's the Excel.
That is a clerical change. We will.
PSSB 18111209, President's Fund for SGA.
Those brought to you by Senator Turton.
Hey y'all, Turton Business. So we have been talking about our Thanksgiving feast that we are going to be having on Tuesday, Thanksgiving break, mainly focusing on international students and letting them have an international meal and kind of to see what this holiday is all about, especially when they can't go home. So this $3,885 is to fund this. 3,000 of this, around 3,000 of this is going for the meal that Tiger Dining is going to be putting on. So it's going to be turkey and dressing and all the sides that we've grown up knowing. And then $800 is for decorations and other things that go along with that. So we would love any questions on on this, but huge shout out to the outreach team and Jordan.
And that wraps up our future orders for tonight. Moving into announcements, I just have a couple of things. So Better Relations Day with SGA is this Friday before the home game, or before the game there. I will not be in attendance, but I believe we have some senators going, so I'm looking forward to hearing the feedback from that event. We have our next Executive Schools Council meeting next Monday after Senate. So I told Cabinet this, but kind of want to reiterate it to y'all, that they are your counterparts, that you should be working with them, but if you have anything else that you would like to share with them or any feedback you want to see from that group, please try to let me know by tomorrow evening. I'm going to be sending that agenda out, but would love to have y'all there if there's any announcements that you want to make or any feedback that you want me to gather. Senator Calhoun mentioned encouraging people to run for Senate this next year, and I want to echo that. If you'll see on AU Involved, the title of the Declaration of Intent form has been changed to Campaign Registration Form, just for clarification for individuals that may not know what Declaration of Intent means. So if anybody asks about that, that's where they're going to be going to fill out their official intent to run on the campaign registration form. And I know sometimes it can be a little bit uncomfortable if you're rerunning for your seat, to sit down and have a conversation about how to run a campaign with somebody who you could be running against. So I just want to encourage y'all to continue having those conversations, but if you're ever in that situation and feel like you can't be an unbiased mentor, please let me know. Feel free to send them my way, and I would be happy to have that conversation with them. And then Senate liaisons, I've called a few of you before, but if I haven't talked to you, come find me, and we're going to work some stuff out. And I think that's it for me. Cool. Are there any more announcements from the floor? Is there any further business for tonight? Seeing none, this meeting will be adjourned right after you click out. So please click in or I click in. And that is it. Like just with your 903 number, and then
Problem positive.